Today in this video, I'm going to be telling you a story about a market, a business which is recession proof, pandemic proof, and is one of the greatest contributors of the Indian economy. I am talking about Indian marriages. In the last 10 years, the Indian marriage industry has seen a major rise. It has also established itself as a business sector which is recession proof. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Indian weddings were still going on. The Indian wedding industry has always been a robust contributor to the Indian economy. The size and the scale of an average Indian wedding function is huge. The variety of products and services provided in a particular event and also the number of people involved to organize this grand affair is unbelievable. In the last decade, the Indian wedding industry has boomed to another level. It has also been resistant and unaffected by economic changes. And it doesn't really surprise me either. A recent KPMG report estimated the Indian wedding market to be at $50 billion and which is growing rapidly every year. Among the countries in the world which spend the highest number of money in weddings, India comes second in the world at $50 billion, not too far behind from the US which is sitting at $70 billion. India has the highest youth population in the world, with more than half of its 1.3 billion people to be under the age of 30. In India currently, there are 1 crore weddings that happen on an average on a yearly basis, and this number is only going to grow in the near future. The reason for this is that weddings represent a very important part of the Indian culture. We consider it to be a marriage of two families rather than two people. And many families are willing to go to any length to make sure that the wedding is done perfectly. Weddings are planned well in advance and are frequently done on auspicious occasions. I have personally come across people who take an entire year to just plan their wedding. Parents begin saving for their children's wedding as soon as they are born, and they also allocate a significant portion of their life savings to this event. Some estimates suggest that 1/5 of a person's total lifetime wealth is spent on the wedding. In today's time, things are a little different. Weddings today are glamorous and traditional Hindu ceremonies are also glamorized. Today, an average wedding consists of haldi, mehndi, sangeet, and also pre-wedding photo shoot. There is also a little mix of the Western world, with cocktail parties being a common phenomena in Indian weddings. Destination weddings are also a new trend which has created an economic rise in the hotel industry. Indian weddings are so popular and so larger than life that the term the big fat Indian wedding is popular across the globe. This huge Indian wedding economy has given rise to many business opportunities and provided employment to many people. It has also given rise to new business ventures such as marriage planners and marriage portals who did not exist a few decades before. An average wedding for a middle class family with 100 to 200 guests will cost them anywhere between 10 to 15 lakhs. This price may vary depending on multiple factors, and sometimes it also boils down to the starter that you include in your wedding meal. There is a different rate for everything, and everything can be customized according to your needs. When you look at it from a business perspective, it works like this well-oiled machinery. The florist, decorator, caterer, the hotel staff, they all know what to do, and it all comes in sync at the end. Wedding planners will do an immaculate job and make sure that they don't miss out on the minutest of the details to make sure that the wedding event goes as planned. But what strikes me is that we are a nation which is considered to be poor. There is a huge disparity between the rich and the poor. Today, the wealthiest 1% hold 4 times the wealth compared to the poorest 70%, which is around 953 million people. Even well-educated boys and girls who consider themselves to be woke and watch US television shows end up spending lakhs and sometimes crores of their parents' money just on this 5-day event. In my opinion, there's one problem with the current wedding system, and that it is solely status driven. It puts the middle class or people who can't really afford a large wedding under tremendous social pressure. People end up in a lot of debt because they want to make sure that they get their daughters married at any cost, and if they have a son, they expect the girl's family to do all the spending. According to a research by Pragati Gramadyog Sansthan, which is a non-profit organization, 60% of Indians turn to money lenders so that they can borrow money for the wedding ceremonies. Loans to cover wedding costs come with impossibly high interest rate, which cause a lot of families to not only fall in debt, but they end up spending the rest of their lives just paying off that debt. Unfortunately, Indian weddings have become more about showing off one's wealth and status and not really about the institution. Unfortunately, there are people in India who even mortgage their properties, take as many personal loans as they can, beg, borrow just to make sure that they can show and display enough gold in their wedding. Even today, in certain regions, people explicitly demand gold as dowry in the name of ancestral tradition. Even the poorest of parents try to give as much gold as possible to their daughters just to save themselves from the embarrassment. It just baffles me that we end up bargaining with vegetable vendors and end up spending 30-40 lakhs on a wedding event which is predominantly to please other people. In summary, this video was not to discourage you from having a good wedding. Neither am I telling you to live below your means. This was just to make people aware about how much money gets spent on an Indian wedding and how the Indian wedding economy really looks. From a financial standpoint, spending large sums of money on weddings does not really make sense. A financially smart person will always tell you to spend less on your weddings and more on your investments. We live in a status-driven society and our parents have their own perspective towards things, and I respect that. But overspending to please other people is never a good decision. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown India that marriages can be done on a smaller scale and yet be a very joyful event. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments section what are your views about this. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and it's the Bombayboy signing off. If you're someone who's interested in business, finance, entrepreneurship, soft skills, make sure you subscribe to my channel. You'll not be disappointed.